Welcome to LazyBud GK One-Liner, your smart stop for quick, easy, and powerful GK. Today's Class 6 covers the Rajput Kingdoms in northern and western India. Let's begin. Section 1. Early emergence of Rajput power. Question 1. During which historical period did Rajput clans emerge as dominant regional powers in northern India? Answer. During the early medieval period between the 8th and 10th centuries CE. Question 2. Which political decline enabled the rise of Rajput kingdoms in northern India? Answer. The decline of the Gurjara-Pratihara Empire and other early medieval powers. Question 3. What is the literal meaning of the term Rajput? Answer. Son of a king. Question 4. What type of political system was followed by most Rajput kingdoms? Answer. Hereditary monarchy supported by feudal chiefs. Question 5. What administrative system was commonly used by Rajput rulers? Answer. Decentralized feudal administration. Question 6. Which regions became major centers of Rajput power by around 950 CE? Answer. Rajasthan, Gujarat, Malwa, Bundelkhand, and the Delhi region. Question 7. On what basis did Rajput rulers establish their political authority? Answer. Military strength and control over land. Question 8. What was the main economic foundation of Rajput kingdoms? Answer. Agriculture and land revenue. Question 9. What role did forts play in the governance of Rajput states? Answer. They functioned as defensive strongholds and administrative centers. Question 10. What was a major weakness of Rajput political organization? Answer. Internal rivalries and lack of long-term unity. Question 11. Which religion was primarily patronized by most Rajput rulers? Answer. Hinduism. Question 12. Which additional religion received royal support especially in western India? Answer. Jainism. Question 13. Which social group formed the ruling elite in Rajput society? Answer. The warrior aristocracy. Question 14. Who were known as Samantas in Rajput administration? Answer. Feudatory chiefs who governed territories and supplied troops. Question 15. What was the main component of Rajput military forces? Answer. Cavalry supported by infantry and feudal levies. Section 2. Paramaras of Malwa. Question 16. Which Rajput dynasty ruled over the Malwa region in central India? Answer. The Paramara Dynasty. Question 17. What was the capital city of the Paramara kingdom? Answer. Dhar. Question 18. Who was the most famous ruler of the Paramara dynasty? Answer. King Bhoja. Question 19. During which years did King Bhoja rule Malwa? Answer. Approximately 1010 to 1055 CE. Question 20. Which religious tradition did King Bhoja mainly support? Answer. Shaivism within Hinduism. Question 21. Which Sanskrit architectural text is attributed to King Bhoja? Answer. Samrangana Sutradhara. Question 22. Which temple is associated with King Bhoja's architectural legacy? Answer. Bhojeshwar Temple at Bhojpur. Question 23. Which style of temple architecture was promoted by the Paramaras? Answer. The Nagara style. Question 24. Which neighboring dynasties frequently engaged in conflicts with the Paramaras? Answer. The Chalukyas of Kalyani and the Solankis of Gujarat. Question 25. Why was the Malwa region economically important during Paramara rule? Answer. Due to fertile land and control of central trade routes. Question 26. For which contributions is King Bhoja especially remembered? Answer: patronage of literature, science, and temple architecture. Question 27. How was revenue collected in the Paramara kingdom? Answer: through land taxes collected by village officials. Question 28. Which language was widely used in the Paramara court? Answer: Sanskrit. Question 29. What administrative structure was followed by the Paramaras? Answer: central monarchy with provincial administration. Question 30. How did the Paramaras protect their kingdom from enemies? Answer: through forts, alliances, and cavalry forces. Section 3. Solankis, Chaulukyas, of Gujarat. Question 31. Which Rajput dynasty ruled Gujarat between the 10th and 13th centuries? Answer: the Solankis, also known as the Chaulukyas. Question 32. Who founded the Solanki dynasty of Gujarat? Answer: Mularaja I. Question 33. What was the capital of the Solanki kingdom? Answer: Anhilwada, also known as Patan. Question 34. Which Solanki ruler expanded Gujarat's power in the 12th century? Answer: Siddharaja Jayasimha. Question 35. During which period did Siddharaja Jayasimha rule? Answer: approximately 1094 to 1143 CE. Question 36. Who succeeded Siddharaja Jayasimha as ruler of Gujarat? Answer: Kumarpala. Question 37. Which religion was strongly supported by Kumarpala? Answer: Jainism. Question 38. Which temple complex is associated with Solanki architecture at Siddhapur? Answer: Rudra Mahalya Temple. Question 39. Which architectural style developed under Solanki patronage? Answer: the Marugurjara style. Question 40. Which major economic activity flourished in Gujarat under Solanki rule? Answer: maritime trade. Question 41. Which ports contributed significantly to Gujarat's prosperity? Answer: Kambai, Khambhat, and other western coastal ports. Question 42. What were the major exports of Gujarat during Solanki rule? Answer: textiles, spices, and precious stones. Question 43. Which neighboring Rajput dynasty frequently conflicted with the Solankis? Answer: the Paramaras of Malwa. Question 44. What type of administrative system did the Solankis follow? Answer: feudal monarchy supported by Samantas. Question 45. Why was Gujarat strategically important in medieval India? Answer: because of its control over Indian Ocean trade routes. Section 4. Chauhans of Ajmer and Delhi. Question 46. Which Rajput dynasty ruled Ajmer and later extended control over Delhi? Answer: the Chauhan Dynasty. Question 47. Who was the most prominent ruler of the Chauhan dynasty? Answer: Prithviraj Chauhan III. Question 48. During which years did Prithviraj Chauhan III rule? Answer: approximately 1178 to 1192 CE. Question 49. Which cities served as capitals of the Chauhan kingdom? Answer: Ajmer and Delhi. Question 50. Which foreign invader fought against Prithviraj Chauhan? Answer: Muhammad Ghori. Question 51. In which year was the first Battle of Tarain fought? Answer: 1191 CE. Question 52. What was the outcome of the first Battle of Tarain? Answer: Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori. Question 53. In which year was the second Battle of Tarain fought? Answer: 1192 CE. Question 54. What was the result of the Second Battle of Tarain? Answer. Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. Question 55. Why is the Second Battle of Tarain considered historically important? Answer. It led to the establishment of Turkish rule in Delhi. Question 56. Which literary work describes the life of Prithviraj Chauhan? Answer. Prithviraj Raso. Question 57. Who is traditionally believed to have written Prithviraj Raso? Answer. Chand Bardai. Question 58. What administrative system was followed by the Chauhans? Answer. Feudal monarchy. Question 59. What were the main sources of income for the Chauhan state? Answer. Agriculture and trade taxes. Question 60. Which kingdom was sometimes allied with the Chauhans? Answer. The Gahdavlas of Kannauj. Question 61. What types of forts were built by the Chauhans? Answer. Hill forts and stone fortresses. Question 62. What weakness affected the Chauhan military system? Answer. Dependence on feudal levies rather than a permanent army. Question 63. What event marked the end of Chauhan control over Delhi? Answer. Their defeat in the Second Battle of Tarain in 1192 CE. Section 5. Chandelas of Bundelkhand. Question 64. Which Rajput dynasty ruled the Bundelkhand region? Answer. The Chandela Dynasty. Question 65. Who were the early prominent rulers of the Chandela Dynasty? Answer. Yashovarman and Dhanga. Question 66. Which Chandela ruler resisted invasions by Mahmud of Ghazni? Answer. Vidyadhar. Question 67. Which temple complex made the Chandelas famous worldwide? Answer. The Khajuraho temples. Question 68. During which period were the Khajuraho temples constructed? Answer. Between approximately 950 and 1050 CE. Question 69. Which religions are represented in the Khajuraho temple complex? Answer. Hinduism and Jainism. Question 70. Which temple at Khajuraho was built by King Yashovarman? Answer. Lakshman Temple. Question 71. Which temple at Khajuraho is attributed to King Dhanga? Answer. Kandariya Mahadev Temple. Question 72. Which architectural style is used in Khajuraho temples? Answer. Nagara style. Question 73. What artistic feature makes Khajuraho temples unique? Answer. Intricate and highly detailed sculptural carvings. Question 74. What was the main economic base of the Chandela kingdom? Answer. Agriculture and temple endowments. Question 75. Which river supported the economy of the Chandela region? Answer. The Betwa River. Question 76. What administrative system did the Chandelas follow? Answer. Feudal monarchy. Question 77. What role did temples play in Chandela society? Answer. Religious, cultural, and economic centers. Question 78. Which invasions contributed to the decline of the Chandelas? Answer. Ghurid invasions. Question 79. Who was the last major Chandela ruler before their decline? Answer. Vidyadhar. Section 6. Society, Administration, and Economy. Question 80. What was the common administrative pattern followed by Rajput kingdoms? Answer. Decentralized feudal monarchy. Question 81. What role did Thakurs play in Rajput administration? Answer. They acted as local chiefs managing land and military forces. Question 82. Who was responsible for collecting taxes at the village level? Answer. Village headman. Question 83. What was the social hierarchy in Rajput society? Answer. Warriors at the top, followed by Brahmins, merchants, artisans, and peasants. Question 84. What economic development characterized the Rajput period? Answer. Expansion of agriculture. Question 85. How were soldiers and nobles rewarded in Rajput kingdoms? Answer. Through land grants and titles. Question 86. Which military unit was most important in Rajput warfare? Answer. Cavalry. Question 87. What was a major weakness of Rajput military organization? Answer. Lack of coordinated large-scale military strategy. Question 88. How did trade contribute to the economy of Rajput states? Answer. Through customs duties and market taxes. Question 89. Which architectural style dominated temple construction in northern India? Answer. Nagara style. Question 90. Which regional architectural style developed in Gujarat and Rajasthan? Answer. Marugurjara style. Section 7. External invasions and decline. Question 91. Which ruler from Central Asia conducted repeated raids into India during the 11th century? Answer. Mahmud of Ghazni. Question 92. Which Rajput dynasty faced resistance against Mahmud of Ghazni? Answer. The Chandelas. Question 93. Which ruler defeated Prithviraj Chauhan and established control over Delhi? Answer. Muhammad Ghori. Question 94. Which year is considered a turning point in medieval North Indian history? Answer. 1192 CE. Question 95. Which political system emerged in Delhi after Rajput decline? Answer. The Delhi Sultanate. Question 96. Why did Rajput kingdoms fail to unite against foreign invasions? Answer. Due to internal rivalries and fragmented power structure. Question 97. What military advantage did Turkish invaders have over Rajput? Answer. Efficient mounted archery and organized cavalry tactics. Question 98. What happened to Rajput clans after the establishment of Turkish rule? Answer. Many retained power in Rajasthan and surrounding regions. Question 99. Did Rajput cultural traditions disappear after foreign conquest? Answer. No, they continued in regional kingdoms. Question 100. What long-term political change followed the decline of Rajput power? Answer. Establishment of Indo-Islamic rule in northern India.